back to Luke 22 and 30, he says that what? Let's start at 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. When you look at this word for table, all right, we're going to sit directly at the table with Yahweh Shai, judging the matters of the whole entire planet Earth. Okay, the word table is trapeza. Trapeza, a table. A table on which food is an eating place. Now we know that we're going to eat, but more importantly, this table symbolizes the table in which the priest sat, handling the affairs of the nation of Israel, taking in all of the increase, the goods, the first fruits that will come to the temple would all be given unto the priest. So it says the table in the temple at Jerusalem, on which the consecrated loaves were placed, right? And it says the table or stand of a money changer, where he sits exchanging different kinds of money for a fee and paying back with loans or deposits. Now, when we go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 12th verse, now remember, these are the blessings. We got to remember to tap into these blessings. Yeah, we know the curses are from Deuteronomy 28:15 on down, but when you read the blessings, you get insight into what we are getting ready to inherit. Now, one of the things that Yahweh Shai said that we just read is that we're going to sit at his table with him, judging the affairs of the 12 tribes of Israel, setting everything in order, being at the forefront, all right, of establishing forever in paradise. Deuteronomy 28:12, Yahweh shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his seasons. And everything is going to flourish. Everything is going to be on point. Won't be any drought, right? The seasons are going to come into perfection. Everything will flourish. No GMOs, right? And to bless all the work of thine hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Read that in the NLT. It says you will lend to many nations, but you will never need to borrow from them. So when you understand the kingdom of heaven and being a priest after the order of Melchizedek, which is Yahweh Shai, we are going to be the bankers of the nation of Israel. We're going to be the bankers of the whole world. But see, we're going to deal in righteousness. And we will be able to lend to heathen. We will be able to deny loans. We'll be at the forefront of how everything flows throughout the whole four corners of the earth. The Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. See, and this is what's promised unto us under Yahweh Shai's kingdom. Joint heirs of what? Being at the forefront of creation. Being at the forefront of setting everything back in its proper perspective, putting everything where it needs to be. All right, from trees to, everything that you can imagine. And we're going to do this in new bodies.
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing this word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash, pushing to get up out of here, Shalom, to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. All right, and what we're going to get into this morning, all right, this morning's news and prophecy, a World War III update, okay, and the death and the food, man. As you can see from the the thumbnail, I could have called this lesson missiles and Taco Bell. You see, but just to go into some things, what's happening, dealing with how this back and forth, it's been 10 days of America and Iran, going back and forth, and just to go into how things are going. I know you brothers, been hearing about the news about, American troops, okay, are being targeted in their region. All right. And what we have to understand, ever since the funeral of Ayatollah, all right, Khomeini, the last supreme leader of Iran, well, now his son's era is in full effect. You see, because the funeral of the last supreme leader of Iran, well, that marked the beginning of the era of his son. All right, Mashtaba. And we see, he's gunning for American troops in the region. They're not just, destroying the bases themselves. No, they're gunning for troops. And see, just like we spoke about in the beginning of this back and forth, what Iran was doing, which they were softening up. Okay. Uh, they were softening it up and they was opening it up. I say they was opening it up for them to be able to get missiles through undetected. Okay, that's why the first thing that they did, they first move, okay, was destroy radars, destroy missile defense systems, okay, destroy aircraft, okay, because a part of the air defense is the Air Force itself. So Iran has opened up their region, and basically a lot of those areas are blind now, because those radars would alert those bases that you had incoming missiles early. You will have those soldiers will have time to evacuate. Okay. But now what we're seeing is their warning time has been disabled, but they killed a lot of those radars. So now those soldiers don't have, hours notice, okay, or 30, 20 minutes notice. You see? Now, because I think in Israel, the small hats, they had got down to, they was getting like 30-second notice, 5-minute notice. Okay. That's why people in the last exchange, when it was intense between the small hats and Iran, you had people had to live in the bunkers. Okay. Because they did used to have enough warning to where they could, get to their nearest bunker from their house. But when Iran destroyed the radars, the Israeli people on small hats, okay, they had to live in the bunkers, man, because it wasn't enough warning time for them to get from, their house to their nearest bunker. Okay, and you see, they ain't pinched Iran this go round. Okay, because they call hell. You see, so now what we're seeing is this escalation, okay, between Iran and America to now Iran has escalated to targeting American troops. Okay, and it only gets worse from here. Now let's get some precepts because I want to get this and go into some words. So when you go to the book of Jeremiah, which you go into, but we're gonna get some words. When you go into the book of Jeremiah, all right, chapter 50, okay, in verse 22, it says the noise of the battle in the land and the noise of great destruction. Okay, because what we're hearing, what we're seeing, okay, is there's a theme now, which you're gonna get this video, all right, of missiles. You see, now they're looking at the American military, and instead of trying to match, okay, America fighter jet for fighter jet, okay, aircraft carrier for aircraft carrier, now these nations see, the way to go is missiles, man. You see, and it's going to go from conventional missiles to eventually nukes. You see, and we know uh, we're waiting, for this devil, to roll out more of this new world order and get to the point to where, he's going to mandate that seal before it goes nuclear. Okay, but these nations are starting to trend towards these missiles, man. Okay, when you get verse 23, it says, "How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?" You see, so how is the hammer? This is a question being posed, and we're seeing the hammer being broken. Okay, for a time, America was the hammer of the earth. You see, but now, all right, because you can look at it. Because how do most hammers break? By what? It being used all the time. Okay, and America's military has been used, just for decades straight. After World War II, American military has been, throughout the earth, just hammering and bullying nations, man. Okay, and how do hammers often break? From overuse. They get to the point to where it's used out, and use that last swing, and it break. Okay, so now America is hitting up against something that it can't bully, it can't push around. Okay, and it's finna be broken, and ultimately it's gonna be how shot. It's gonna shatter it, man. Okay, along with these other nations. Now, when you go into how's the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder? Because you go into the word asunder, which in the Hebrew is gadai. Now you say, how's the hammer cut asunder? Remember that word asunder. So in Hebrew is gadai, and it says what? To be cut, to be hewn, to chop down. Okay, to cut off, to cut into two. Okay, to chop down or to hewn down. You see, and what we're going to see is this American military constantly be hewn down, be chopped down. Okay, it says to destroy anything. All right. Now, when you get this, because this precept made me think. Let's get this word broken, and then we're going to go into another precept, go into the word asunder. Okay. When you go to the word broken, how is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? Okay, how is it going to be hewn down? Which is Hebrew word is right. Shabar. What it is? Shabar in Hebrew, which means what? To break in pieces. Okay, to rend violently, to crush. Okay, to be crippled. You see, and what we're seeing with Iran, they're crippling America's military. All right, they're crippling America's ability to project power in their region. Okay, and they're softening it up for, all right, the kings of the east to come forth. Okay, they're softening it up for the kings of the east, to come forth and fulfill prophecy, man. You see, Ezekiel 38. Okay, so what we're seeing is the Lord dismantling the empire. It's not a random conflict. No, this is prophecy. The Lord is dismantling the empire. Okay, now Esau, the elites, they have their agenda of a global reset, but the Lord agenda, okay, is to dismantle, all right, this whole thing, the new world order and everything. Okay, see, the elites want to bring the American people to their knees, okay, and usher them into this new world order. But the Lord wants to destroy America completely and destroy this whole Edomite empire that runs the earth, man. Okay, so we're watching The Heavenly Father dismantled an empire. Now let's go from there. You get that word asunder, because you'll think, all right, when you go, let's go here. So when you go into the word asunder, it makes me think of this precept in the book of Second Ezra chapter 6, okay, about Babylon being cut asunder. Well, let's go here. Second Ezra 6 and 7 says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the part and asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth? Now Ezra's asking about the kingdom. Okay, he asking about what shall be the part asunder. You see, but then you go to Jeremiah 50 and 23. How is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? Okay, showing you that it's going to be this war that's going to be the part and asunder of the times. That's going to separate the age, okay, of Esau, okay, and the age of Jacob. You see, this war is going to separate the times. Okay, it's going to cut and sunder the times. You see, because what he said, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Okay, letting you know what that our rulership, okay, will be transitioning in as Esau's rulership is transitioning out. Esau was on the way out the door. Okay, Esau is on his way out, and he's going to cause a lot of damage, to the world on his way out, mainly here in America. All right, because America got to get caught up to get on board, for this short-lived, okay, enterprise of his new world order. You see, but Esau is on the way out, and he's going to do a lot of damage, especially here in America with you American citizens, man. Okay, but what we're seeing is Esau's kingdom is fading out, and the kingdom of Israel is fading in. Okay, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it to follow. Okay, so the hammer, all right, Babylon being cut asunder, being sunder and broken. Well, this is the Lord getting ready to cut up the ages, man. You see, he's going to separate the ages. You see, so we're living in some beautiful time. And like I said, this is not just a random skirmish, because people look at it, people walk around like this is just some random skirmish, America has gotten themselves into. No, this is the Lord. They cutting asunder the ages, because you go into the word asunder, also in the Edom, just to look at it. It says asunder. Edom online says into a position apart. It says to separate into parts. Okay, it says to distinguish or to tell apart. Okay, so when you go into cutting asunder the time, the Lord is separating or cutting into parts the age of Esau, all right, from the age of Jacob. His war is going to do it. You see, because that word sunder itself means what? To separate two or more things. And what are the two things being separated? The age of Esau and the age of Jacob. Okay, which our age is going to be everlasting. You see that? It said from each other, all right, to divide, to disunite in any manner. Okay, to disunite in any manner. Okay, so this war is going to cut asunder. It's sundering, it's disuniting the age of Esau from the age of Jacob. Esau's going to be fully cut off. His age is going to be fully ended. It's a transition period. Then it's going to be what? A cutoff. Okay, and it's going to be Yahweh Shai that's going to make that last laceration, man, that cuts Esau off completely. When Yahweh Shai in the chariot show what we're seeing in the beginning of Esau's age, all right, being cut asunder. Okay, so when you go, let's go from there. Let's get a couple of videos and then we'll get back into some precepts. So let's go here just to catch up on what's all right been what's been happening, man. All right, so you got this report here that says 400 plus wounded, 14 dead. These are American troops. Okay, Iran did to U.S. troops in Gulf states. You see? So let's play a little bit of this. Got a few videos to get into. Let's play a little bit of this.
More than 400 U.S. troops have reportedly been wounded and 14 service members have died since the Iran conflict escalated, highlighting the growing human cost of the confrontation. According to CBS News, Iranian attacks on military installations in Jordan reportedly injured several U.S. troops stationed at the bases, raising regional security. Multiple U.S. service members were reportedly wounded in the strikes, although officials say there have been no reported fatalities linked to these latest attacks. CBS News reports that at least 2 U.S. military bases in Jordan were targeted during the recent wave of Iranian attacks, though officials have released few operations. The Pentagon has not yet issued an official statement or responded to requests for comment regarding the reported Iranian strikes on the bases in Jordan. The overall U.S. military death toll connected to the broader Iran conflict has reportedly risen to 14, reflecting losses from multiple incidents across the region. One of those fatalities includes a U.S. Navy pilot who was killed earlier this month after military aircraft crashed into the Arabian Sea during operations. Officials say that more than 400 American service members have now been wounded since the conflict began, underscoring the escalating risks facing U.S. forces deployed across the Middle East.
And it's just been the last 10 days. Okay, so you're talking about 40 soldiers wounded a day. Okay, and it's just the numbers that are making it out. Okay, because you best believe, all right, because America, those small hats are known for covering up, their numbers. You see, minimizing their numbers. Okay, but this just shows you the spirit that the Lord got on, Iran, all right, this guy Maj, okay, the new supreme leader, okay, he want bodies, he want American bodies, okay, if you're an American soldier in that region, you're sitting duck, your country, okay, just put you in, set you up for failure, man, okay, and you're at the, and you're being held hostage by the pride of Edomites. Okay, you American troops. Okay, and I say it's only going to get worse. Let's play a little more.
We currently offer 2 investment opportunities: a private placement bond offering for accredited investors with target.
Iran says it has launched another wave of retaliatory attacks as the conflict with the United States enters its 7th straight day. Tehran claims its latest missile and drone operations have expanded across multiple Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. Iran says its naval forces carried out a major operation in the Strait of Hormuz targeting vessels it describes as violators. The Revolutionary Guard claims 4 vessels were stopped during a combined missile and drone operation. Tehran says its retaliatory campaign has expanded beyond the Gulf into the Indian Ocean. IRGC Navy statement read, and I quote, "In the past few hours, for violating vessels, with the support of the terrorist American army, intended to cross the Strait of Hormuz but during a combined missile and drone operation, all 4 vessels were halted in their place." The IRGC Navy firmly declares that the owners of vessels, like the leaders of some southern Gulf countries, should not fall for the deception of the unfounded support from the terrorist U.S. Army, and should heed the warnings and declarations of the IRGC Navy, unquote. Iran warned commercial shipping against cooperating with the U.S. military, saying such actions could make them targets. The U.S. military rejected Iran's claims, calling reports of attacks on oil tankers completely false. U.S. Central Command statement read, and I quote,
you can't trust nothing coming out the West, okay? But just show you, all right, the spirit that these Iranians are in. And see, these people in America, okay, let's see. You have these reporters over here in America, man. And I say, ain't nothing going through the strait without Iranian permission, okay? These vessels that are being struck, because these people all right, are trying to go through the Strait. You know, certain GCC nations will try to send their tankers through the Strait. Okay, but America can't protect them. Okay, and the world is seeing that America word don't mean anything. America, all right, the brand of this invincible, okay, unstoppable force. Well, their brand is suffering, man. Okay, and you look at let's go here. Let's play this. Yeah, man. So America ain't got no weight when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz. America don't have no weight over there, man. Okay, and you getting all these reports because now that American bodies, okay, are dropping. Now it says CENTCOM. It said 2 U.S. service members killed, 1 missing, 4 injured in Jordan after Iranian strikes. Now I was listening to Larry Johnson, and he said when Nima was giving him the report about the 1 missing, and Larry Johnson said, "You know why they say it's 1 person missing, right?" And Nima didn't know. And Larry Johnson said, "You know, this speculation, you know, but he's, you know, that's what they do. You know, military analysis, that's what they do." But he said the 1 person that's missing is because the fire completely obliterated him. There's nothing left for that person. That's why they report him as missing. Okay, because there's nothing left for this person. You see, because it was a direct hit on a certain base, and it's you know, this whoever got caught directly in that fire, he's disintegrated. You know, according to Larry Johnson, that's when you hear someone is missing. Okay, in war. Okay, because it's not an invading force that could take them hostages or kidnap them. No, if someone's missing after a missile barrage, okay, Larry Johnson, you know, he's pretty much said that they've been disintegrated by that fire. There's nothing left of that person. Okay, so let's play this real quick.
Of course, inevitably, it will put the spotlight on the blood and treasure that the US is losing in this conflict with Iran. It may also, though, strengthen many people's resolve. It comes on the day when the new supreme leader in Iran, Mustafa Khamenei, issued a statement just hours ago, actually, in which he vowed a forceful response to those increasing strikes by US Central Command inside of Iran. We've already seen those Iranian responses in 7 separate countries around Iran, including Jordan, and Jordan has been being hit heavily, as has Kuwait in particular, and Bahrain. Jordan, of course, has US personnel, US bases there, so it has been a target, Iran says, for that reason. But those strikes have been condemned by many of America's allies and partners, like Saudi Arabia, where I am now. Saudi Arabia, just in the past few hours, put out a statement condemning the flagrant aggression by Iran against countries like Jordan.
How much did the developments over?
Well, Saudi Arabia said they put out a statement. Well, nigga, do something. You stay next door to Iran, nigga, do something. Okay? And anyone that's hosting, anyone that has bases or hosting military personnel, you ain't have to have a base. If you just have military personnel, okay, you are part of the war. So if you're housing soldiers, if you have bases, you are part of the war. Okay? And the devil can't hide like he's winning. No. Okay? These last 10 days have been worse than the first 40 days, man. Okay? So let's play a little more.
Might add to the complexity and indeed the precarious nature of the current situation.
The deaths of two troops and 1 missing in action demonstrates that Iran's ballistic missile capacity, because this was a ballistic missile attack, is still quite effective. And it also crosses a red line for the President of the United States, who has said repeatedly that if Americans are killed, and we're now talking 16, 3, 2, 1 missing in the last 24 hours. If Americans are killed, the force is going to be, use is going to be overwhelming. So I suspect, in addition to an already escalatory cycle, you're gonna watch a disproportionate response from the United States.
I think one of the
Now, what sense that make? You start a war with a country, but then you say if American soldiers get killed, nigga, he's a soldier of war. You see? And that's that Edomite pride, as if he can do what he wants to other people. You know, that goes back to that spirit of Lamech. You know? If I can kill thousands of yours, but if you kill one of mine, I'm bringing hell. You know? I'm going to bring hell to you. I can kill thousands upon thousands, hell, millions of your people. But you kill any American soldier, then it's going to be hell to pay, man. Nah, man, that covering that Esau has had, you know, the Lord, had this covering over this nigga. Well, that covering is coming off, man. Okay? The Lord is opening Esau up, man. Because he's getting this nigga, he's phasing this nigga out, man. Esau is being phased out. Okay? But how can you start a war? It's a war you started, but you saying that the troops, American troops, better not die. Nigga, please. Okay? That's what they signed up for. Okay? And it's just the beginning. You see? So let's play a little more.
interesting things, and I've just seen kind of breaking news on this, was the precision in which they were able to strike sensitive targets within Jordan. And the reporting is indicating that perhaps China or Russia was feeding them targeting information. Now, we need to get to the bottom of that, particularly if we're talking about China, on the back of the news that the president just broke and declassified about them stealing over 200 million voter files from the United States, and obviously interfering in our election, where they were trying to influence through media campaigns or social media people's perceptions and how they were ultimately going to vote. China is our adversary. We need to make this very, very clear. This is one of the reasons last year I introduced a bill to eliminate all student visas for China. Why are we training and educating our enemies to then work to destroy us? It doesn't make any sense at all. And this is why the president has implemented tariffs on them and tried to pull back our industry from China. So we need to get to the bottom of this. But where do we go from here, though, is also looking at how we're going to work with those GCC partners in the region, because this could tip over, hopefully not, could tip over into a regional destabilizing conflict, which
it already is. Okay? It's already a regional destabilizing conflict. Okay? And then you're talking about, we need to get to the bottom of China and Russia helping Iran. Well, how are you going to do that? You see? You're like it's a mystery to solve. They helping. What you going to do? Okay? They getting targeted. They're because China has a GPS system, and they're saying it's better than Google that Iran has been using to locate targets. Okay? Russia is giving them information. And they say a lot of these missiles that we're seeing that's knocking these U.S. troops off, they're saying that they're Chinese missiles, because Russia are already testing their missiles, with Ukraine, so their missiles are being battle tested. But China, they're not at war with anybody directly. So this is a good time for them to give their ally Iran some missiles to test them in the battlefield, to see how they work real time against missile defense and radars. Okay, so they're saying that these missiles that Iran been using lately are Chinese missiles. Okay, so what you gonna do about it? Get to the bottom of what? Okay, this guy here, Riley Moore. Okay, I don't know if he's a senator or a congressman. You can boot up. Okay, that's all. You see, ain't no investigation needed. You say that time. Said China and Russia helping, and Americans getting hit more than likely with Chinese missiles, man. This is the beginning of how war war start. Okay, because you got multiple nations involved, even though the main fighting between Iran and America, but you got nations helping, man. Okay, and then America know it. You see, America's stretched too thin, and it can't. America can't go. See, for a long time, it was just speculation, like America could go to war with the world. Nah, it was speculation, man. Okay, and all that speculation is out the window now. Okay, and why scriptures I shall make thee small among the heathen. Okay, this is what we're seeing. The Lord's making Babylon small. Okay, and the word small, all right, goes into what? Being insignificant when you go into it. You know, if brother want to post it, I think that Jeremiah 40, 49, and 16, maybe. If the brother want to post it, I think that's it. 45, Jeremiah 49, 16, and 15. But yeah, man. Okay, talking about we need to get to the bottom. Niggas, they don't need no investigation. Okay, go be tough. Okay, where's this high IQ? Okay, all this goddamn money you spent on the military. Okay, yeah, verse 15. Yeah, Jeremiah 49, 15 and 16. Bible shot. Yep. So let's play a little more of this.
Not could tip over into a regional destabilizing conflict, which nobody wants that. But some of these folks in the region there really need to step up and think about their own interest in this as well.
So Donald Trump is sitting there in the White House weighing up the fact that he's got midterms, the fact that public sentiment on this is low, but you believe that he would be weighing up going in, putting troops on the ground.
He's saying that, and maybe he's trying to convince the Iranians I'll go really hard, but at some stage, they're very good at meeting his bluff. And so at some stage, he'll be pressured to do more. The question is, what can he do without further entangling the US on the ground? Because once ground troops are involved, he's in real trouble politically in the US, because that's the last thing Americans want. They were told no more forever wars. To them, that meant no boots on the ground.
On the travel.gov website, due to heightened tensions in the Middle East, the security environment remains complex with the potential for unseen escalation. And that's exactly what we saw in neighboring Jordan, John, last night when Iran fired multiple intermediate range ballistic missiles that made it through U.S. air defense systems, hit a base in Jordan with dozens of U.S. Air Force personnel at the base, F-16s, F-15s, F-35 stealth fighter jets. Central Command that there are at least 2 U.S. service members killed in action. 1 remains missing, as you mentioned. Also, 4 others were wounded. Also want to remind viewers that earlier today, before this news about the recent casualties in Jordan, there were 13 American troops wounded just earlier this week, John, as Iran has stepped up its attacks on neighboring Gulf countries, Bahrain, in Jordan, and certainly in Kuwait, where we saw a desalination plant get hit, a power plant get hit for Kuwaitis drinking water. Why are they attacking Kuwait, John? We have a lot of U.S. assets there. We have U.S. Army firing high.
See, smoke. You see, Maj Tower ain't bullshit. Okay, smoke. You know, killed the man's father, his wife, his children. You see, what you think on his mind? Okay, and he got these missiles to his disposal. Okay, wounded. Every day, somebody, the way it's going, 40 getting wounded a day. You see? So nah, man, they say in New Orleans is up there. Okay? This is where they at with it. And America know these other nations helping, what they gonna do. Okay? Nah, man, these folks at your top. That's the play from here on out. You see? Your American personnel in their region, you do. Okay, your government has completely set you up for failure, man. No way of protecting you. Okay, if you in those bases, you might as well just live in the bunker. Okay, it ain't safe. It ain't safe up top, man. Okay, So let's play a little more.
Mars, surface-to-surface missiles from Kuwait. We also have Ali Al Salim Air Base, major transit point. Bahrain is home of the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet.
How do you think America is going to respond to this?
Well, the pressure will be to show resolve. The pressure will be to escalate. And so we're caught in that very trap that I think the president was trying to avoid. But that was almost inevitable. Once this MOU, this Memorandum of Understanding, fell over, the Iranians rebuffed it. It was clear that the president would have to do something to bring them back to the table. And he can't just keep giving things away. He's got to show both diplomacy and military. And the military piece now, he's under a lot of pressure to do more. The challenge is to do more, he potentially has to not just do stuff from the air or on the sea, but potentially on the ground. And so what are his military planners telling him about his options on the ground? And that's the bit that gets very sticky, including politically within the US.
So what you have now is an escalatory cycle. The prospects of an exit ramp for the United States, I think, are slim to none right now. I don't see a single factor that's going to change either Trump's calculations right now or the Iranians. This is not Vietnam, but it reminds me in 1968 of the quote from Lyndon Baines Johnson, who said he felt like a hitchhiker in a Texas hailstorm. He couldn't run, he couldn't hide, and he couldn't make it stop. And sadly, tragically, that's where we are right now.
American
Nigga, shut up. Hey, the one. Yeah, Ezekiel 35. Brother can get that. Ezekiel 35 and I want to say 5 and 6. Okay, let's get that. Let's switch over to another video. Get these other precepts you brothers got. But yeah, man. So America, if you are an American in their region of the earth, all right, they're beginning to be hunted down. Okay, if you're American personnel in their region, you're beginning to be hunted down. And then it shows you that China, because China make the iPhone, and American militaries will issue iPhones. So now Iran got the hack on the iPhone. So you American personnel, you're sitting ducks, man. You know, you just sitting ducks, man. Yeah, so let's get Ezekiel 35, verse 5 and 6, man. Esau, it's a lot of things backfiring against this nigga, man. Because he do so much wickedness and I say double crossing and trying to get profit here and trying to scam. There's a lot of stuff that's starting to backfire, man. The Lord has a perfect storm working against this nigga to get Esau up out of it, man. We're watching Esau get packed up. Okay? Prophecy is packing this nigga up, man. This is brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. Jeremiah 49:15 said, "For I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men." Okay, despised among men. So you got the whole earth getting that Babylon, man. Okay, you got just more nations just piling on top, especially they see, oh, this nigga can bleed. You see, this nigga is not invincible. Okay, making them small, which go into a definition of the word small, which is insignificant, unimportant. Okay, verse 16, it says, thy terribleness. Now I think Bible Shop, you get verse 16 in the NLT, bro. Bible Shop. I think it's the NLT. But thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. All right, though thou shouldest, let me see, make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, said the Lord, Yahweh by Shema Shai. Yeah, so Esau's terribleness, the way he's been able to bully the nation, and the fear that he's been able to steal in these nations, okay, has deceived him. And he's so proud, okay, that he's reckless, man. You see, he has become proud and reckless. He thinks he's just going to these nations with no strategy and just overwhelm them from the air, because he used to having the air superiority. But he can't get there in Iran because there's too many air defense systems, man. That's why they can, even if you look at the strikes these last 10 days, they only hitting, they barely getting into Iran. They barely making it into Iran because they gotta stay so far back. So those aircrafts don't engage with those air defense systems, man. You know, so we're seeing the Eagle coming down. You know, Iran to knock down a few of planes, Reapers, F-35, and the F-35 supposed to be undetectable. Come here. No, we see you. You know, they see you. You know, speaking from the perspective of Iran, no, they see you. Okay, and it's the Lord's doing. You see, because the Lord is using these nations to fulfill prophecy, man. Uh, 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 let's get that. Yep, brother got that. Yeah, let's get that in Ezekiel 35:5. It says, your eternal, this is brother you call, Hopeful 144, it's an NLT. It says, your eternal hatred for the people of Israel led you to butcher them when they were helpless, when I had already punished them for their sins. Yeah, you Edomites you took our captivity too far. You did too much. So when we was helpless, you just had your way. You know, the atrocities of slavery, okay, that's reported on you devils, man. Okay. The way that you just, just slaughter of helpless people, that's got to be paid back. By fact, brother, get that in Job 4, okay, verses 7 and 8, Bob Bashar. You see? But Ezekiel 35 and 6, that's the brother serves of Yahushua 144. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Yeah, wherever you at, they own you. In that region of the earth, they own Esau ass, man. Okay, and those small hats, Edomites. Okay, they own them folks' head out there, man. And that's the Lord fulfilling prophecy, man. Blood starting to pursue this nigga, man. Since he didn't hate blood, all the atrocities. Okay, you go into, and all you Edomites, man, the European, the atrocities of the colonization. You go into all these different colonizations of these European governments, man. They was brutal, man. It was all bloody, man. Beginning with the conquistadors, man. Okay, the Spanish, you see, Portuguese. Nah, man, you Edomites never hated blood, so now blood finna pursue you. Okay, and it said, let's see. Yep, your brother got this. Joshua, tribe of Judah, in Jeremiah 49:16 said, you have been deceived by the fear you inspire in others. It's the NLT. See, Esau's been deceived by how the fear he's been able to inspire in others, and by your own pride. And pride has this man reckless, man, to where he just think he just gonna go big boy shit every time. Nah, man. Okay. He said, you live in a rock fortress and control, all right, the mountain heights. But even if you make your nest among the peaks with the eagles, I will bring you crashing down, says the Lord, man. So we're seeing this devil crash. Okay. The Lord made Esau go crash out over there, man. Okay. Now let's go Job 4:7, Yashima, tribe of Judah. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or where was the righteous cut off? Yeah, so you American troops, you're not innocent. Okay, you signed up to be a soldier, a warrior. Okay, and your government has started a war. Okay, and you're a property of your government, so you're not innocent, man. Okay, they make it seem as if American troops are just innocent, that they shouldn't die in the war. How that work, man? How can you wage a war with everybody, but you don't supposed to die? Okay, it's like swimming and not getting wet. You see how that work, man? So when you go to verse 8, Job 4 and 8, it says, even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. Yeah, so America just going to reap what has been sown, which is death, man. Okay? America has sown a lot of death, okay, in the earth, man. You know, and they're just starting to reap what has been sown. So let's go here. All right, because this is the spirit of I said Russia and China. They in the cut watching these things play out. Okay, let's go here. Let's play this.
Donald Trump believed 4 months of relentless high-intensity air operations would teach Iran a lesson. He thought his fighter jets would show the world one thing, that the United States is still the undisputed superpower. Trump assumed the air raids would terrify America's rivals. That did not happen. Instead, Russia and China just sat back, tracked America's military operations, looked at the scorecard, and took home a completely different lesson. According to US assessments, Moscow and Beijing have reached the same conclusion. Invest in hypersonic missiles. A lesson they learned not from the world's biggest military, but from the sanctioned, diplomatically isolated Iran. This war has shown us one thing: drones and jets can be spotted, they can be intercepted, and they can be shot down. But hypersonic missiles have no counter, because these weapons travel at Mach 5, which is 5 times the speed of sound. They can outrun, outmaneuver, and outsmart the world's best defense systems. And that's exactly why Russia and China are. Let me begin with Russia. Vladimir Putin has 2 stars in his hypersonic arsenal, the Kinzhal and the Avangard. A few weeks ago, Putin spoke about them in great detail. Listen to this.
We began working on the Avangard intercontinental range missile system in 2004, and it has been on combat duty since 2019. We then introduced the Kinzhal medium-range air-launched hyper.
So Baba Shah, brother, can get that in Jeremiah 50 and 25, Baba Shah. You know, that's the spirit. I stopped it on 144. You know, they call on like how about Shema Shah, Baratazai. Hey, but because this war is going to usher in that government, Yahweh Shah in 144. You know, this war is going to usher that in. Okay, and you see the spirit of these, and also brother can get that in Isaiah 9 and 5. All right, yeah, Isaiah 9 and 5, and get verses 6 and 7 as well. You know, Baba Shah, and but yeah, you see the spirit of China and Russia, like I said, instead of trying to build aircraft, match America aircraft for aircraft, they just get these hypersonics. You see, and it's the Lord that's playing on the spirit of men. You see, the king's heart, what is Proverbs 21 and 1? The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Like waters, he steered it whither as he will. So he got, Russia and China looking at Iran. And like I said, we need to just invest in missiles. You know? Damn, the aircraft carrier, they just get missiles. And then Russia and China got all the rare minerals, all right, the rare earths, and the raw material they need to make missiles. They got it between themselves. They don't have to outsource nothing. They can China and Russia is just like one big, huge manufacturer of missiles, man. You know, plus Iran. You see, then you got North Korea that they're giving raw materials, So between China and Russia, North Korea and Iran, they got all the raw materials and rare earths that they need, okay, to make this weaponry, man. Okay, and who set that up? The Lord. Because they got a purpose and prophecy. Okay? Play a little more of this.
It's already being used during the special military operation, but we continue working on improving it.
Let me first tell you about the Kinzhal. This is an air-launched hypersonic missile. It can reach speeds of up to Mach 10. That's more than 12,000 kilometers per hour. And it has hit targets 2,000 kilometers away. The Kinzhal has been repeatedly used against Ukraine. The other hypersonic weapon in Russia's arsenal is the Avangard. This is the world's fastest missile. It can reach speeds up to Mach 20. That's 25,000 kilometers per.
That's over 15,000 miles an hour. Mach 20. So that's 20 times the speed of sound. Most I ain't playing. Okay? Let's get that up, man. Mach 20, that's crazy. But the project gotta be fulfilled. Brother can put that. America gonna be destroyed what? In an hour. They gonna get here. Hey, they come. Hey, they coming out them silos. They gonna get here, man. That's that marching. Joel saying. He say he seen the missiles marching. Joel seen Mach 20. He described them as horses marching. Like, oh my goodness. This is Jeremiah 15:25. He said the Lord have opened his armory and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord, power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. So the Lord is opening up this armory, baby. Okay, like that, Jake. Hey, America had one more time and they threw, and they didn't use that one more time with Iran. Okay, one more time and you're through. So America, you're done. Esau, the elites, you're done. Okay, the Lord opened up his armory, man. Okay, for the purpose that he got what? The Lord of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, which is America, man. Okay, yeah, let's play a little. I think brother got that. Get that Isaiah. Yep, it's Isaiah 9:5. It says, "It's brother Yashima tribe of Judah said, for every battle of the warrior is confused. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." Okay, these nations like, look, we gonna go to missiles. It's gonna be a war of missiles, man. Okay, and ultimately, eventually, they're gonna start putting nuclear warheads on these hypersonic projectiles. Okay, and they're gonna march towards Babylon. You see, Isaiah 9:6, and because it describes this last war, because Isaiah 9:5 is describing World War III. And what's after World War III? For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. So Yahweh Shai is this child that's born, and he was born to rule the kingdom that will come after the Third World War. You see that? Yahweh Shai was born to redeem, okay, a remnant of his people. Okay. And he was born to rule a righteous kingdom that will come after this Third World War. So that's why it goes from describing the Third World War to going into Yahweh Shai, because that's what's next, man. Okay, not Russia, China, Iran, not the BRICS, alliance. No, Yahweh Shai. You see, he goes. He talks about World War III, then it cuts to Yahweh Shai. All right, Isaiah 9:6 says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father." And these are all titles. Okay, it says, "Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and establish it with judgment and with justice." Okay, from henceforth forever. The zeal is the part. The zeal of the Lord Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai of hosts will perform it. So this is the Lord performing his zeal in the earth, man. This is why Iran, Russia, and China so souped up over there, man. Because it plays into the agenda of the Lord getting ready to send back Yahushua, man. To put all right, heathen, okay, in order, man. to end all wars forever, man, and establish a throne of David forever, and the increase of his peace and government there shall be no end, everlasting, man. Okay, so we're watching the Lord start to perform these things, man, the things that's going to lead up to that. Okay, so yeah, let's read. Let's listen to a little more. Yeah, but Mach 20, and to be exact, Mach 20 is 15,345 miles per hour.
Per hour. There is no air defense system in the world that can intercept this missile. Clearly, the avant-garde is Putin's trump card. No pun intended. According to the Pentagon, Russia makes about 100. Now, let me tell you about China. If Russia's strategy is intimidation, China's philosophy is industrialization. Beijing has two main hypersonic systems. The first is Dongfeng 17. This missile travels at Mach 10 and can travel up to 2,000 kilometers. But the most serious threat comes from the Dongfeng 26. This missile has a speed of Mach 18, that's 22,000 kilometers per hour. And it has a peculiar nickname, the Guam Killer, because the missile can reach US bases in the Pacific Ocean, particularly those on Guam Island. But China's real edge is in its factories. According to the Pentagon, China can make 370 hypersonic missiles every year. Beijing will have almost 4,000 missiles by 2035. In the next 10 years, Russia...
Yeah, you can get 10 years off your mind, you know, and she doesn't know how many of these missiles that they can make and that they have. Okay, she just know what, all right, Russia and China, all right, Intel wants them to know. Okay, but guess what? Everybody finna mess around and find out. Okay, count them as they hit. Okay, so yeah, man, this just showing you the spirit that's okay. The Lord is moving all his chess pieces, okay, on the board. All right, and it's gonna be a checkmate for Esau and all these heathens. That they're gonna checkmate themselves, man. Okay, so it's beautiful how the Lord, you know, got this thing playing out. Now, I want to segue, all right, to what's going on domestically. I found this one, you know, but that's what's happening with the war. Okay, but I want to get this one here. All right, because this is just crazy, man. And this is why the devil, this is why the Lord is getting, this is why the Lord is packing this nigga up, man. Okay, you go into just how this man runs the earth, man. This man needs to be removed immediately, man. You know, brother can get that in Sirach 10:3 Bible shop, and then yes, Sirach 10:3 and 4, yeah, Sirach verses chapter 10 verse 3 and 4 Bible shop. So let's play this with this guy here, man.
Thousands of Americans have been suffering from explosive diarrhea, cramps, and weeks of misery. The CDC is studying over 1,645 lab-confirmed cases of cyclospora, with additional cases across 34 states. Now, luckily from this explosive diarrhea outbreak, there have been no deaths, but there have been over 140 hospitalizations. And while a lot of reports have focused on lettuces and salad greens, recently it's kind of zeroed in on shredded iceberg lettuce from Taylor Farms. This lettuce was sourced from Mexico and sold to Taco Bell locations across the United States. But I have a different question about all this. Why does every single outbreak become an excuse to push more AI surveillance and control? Why isn't the focus on instead fixing our dependence of importing food from places like Mexico? American food is slowly disappearing. It's been disappearing for years. And part of that story focuses in on water policy. Today, I want to dig into this with the receipts. Now,
But now tell me, I might be tripping, but here it is. You have all these American farmers. Okay, so why does a American food chain, fast food chain, which at the end of the day, fast food is trash anyway. Okay, stay away as much as lieth in you. You see, this is why I started the apostles and elders. A lot of times, Taco Bell be the main. It's the spirit, because this is one of the main restaurant brothers would joke about. Goddamn Taco Bell, man. Okay, but it's all these goddamn fast food restaurants, man. Okay, because they're just shipping, the cheapest ingredients. Okay, with the most chemicals in it. You see, but it's crazy as hell how you have an American fast food restaurant chain, but it has to get its lettuce from Mexico. Okay, that's crazy. And then all their travel time of their food ain't good. It's already poor quality. Okay, but then it has to travel from Mexico to New York City. You see, what sense does that make in all these American farmers that you have? Would you go to another country to get the lettuce? It's crazy, man. This man runs a very ass backwards kingdom, man. They play this.
If you watched last week's video on this, you know that the human cost is real. It may sound funny to talk about explosive diarrhea, but what people are going through is real. It's actually happening to thousands. But right on cue, experts like Dr. Sylvain Carboy, is that how you say his name? Carboy? Anyway, he dropped a very interesting column. It's titled Food Safety Needs an AI Upgrade. The column is basically a great diagnosis on vague warnings that are hurting small farmers. His solution is AI chatbots, building personalized responses to investigators, shoppers, building AI-ready platforms across the entire industry, making go through more hoops to put their food on the market. It sounds pretty slick, but while they're trying to sell you on this tech, they're missing, or should I say, ignoring the bigger picture to what's happening here. That is our reliance on importing produce from very complex.
Oof. Your big piggy needs professional help. Good thing you have Amazon Health AI. It took one look and got you an appointment. Fast. And they call him man's best friend?
It's just like a very cool way to prototype extremely quickly. If I go here in Figma, I just have this design here that I pulled together.
Global supply chain.
And that's all they push is AI. Almost every YouTube commercial is AI. Okay. Now you got Amazon Health AI. This what? You see? But he's using this situation with Taco Bell to even push AI with them. Like AI is going to fix poison in the food. Not stopping, not just don't put poison in the food.
United TV.
Okay. Not teaching farming in school, agriculture in school. You see? All this farmland is not being used. Okay, it could be used to grow fresh crops. Okay, AI, here it is. It's already straight. The food is already on point. All you gotta do is grow it and don't defile it. Okay, you don't need no goddamn AI chatbot or AI, all right, quality control. Okay, AI is real unnecessary, man. And he just be forcing it everywhere, man. AI be unnecessary as hell in a lot of ways that this devil tried to apply it, man. Like I say, it can be a tool for certain things, but this devil makes it seem like AI is a solution to everything, man. Which has simple solutions, man. And the ultimate simple solution is remove Esau from power, man. That's the solution to it all. Okay, let's play this.
Keeps the information flowing, but we need your help in keeping it up. Shop at Yanasa Trading Co. and support this channel. We have a full line of bison tallow products now back in stock. Check it out at Yanasa Trading Co. These are made by friends that we have made while filming the Native documentary. For our candle collection, we've also added an entire lineup of fall candles. These make excellent, as over 1,600 we're doing. Thank you in advance. So here's what we know as of today. The CDC has over 1,645 lab confirmed cases of explosive diarrhea. Cyclospora. There have been over 140 hospitalizations. For Michigan officials, it's all about the lettuce and the salad greens. Reports are now linking Taylor Farm shredded iceberg lettuce out of Mexico. Favorite local restaurant, Taco Bell. And at this point in time, Taco Bell has voluntarily removed those items. So it's safe to eat again at Taco Bell if you enjoy fake food, if you can even say fake food is safe. Of course, Taylor Farms does have history here. In 2013, Taylor Farms had a similar cyclospora outbreak tied to their Mexican operations. They've even had recent E. coli issues with onions. Those onions were sent to McDonald's. So guys, this isn't one bad batch. This is the system. Cyclospora loves fresh produce when eaten raw. Long supply chains coming up from Mexico and well beyond Mexico make traceback slow and contamination risks actually pretty high. It comes from irrigation water, worker sanitation, processing. By the time cases spike and anybody knows about it, nothing to do with it. Now, with all this push for AI surveillance, here's the dynamic that they simply will not emphasize. American-grown, homegrown produce has declined substantially over the years. Why is that? Water, policy, economics. In places like California, where Taylor Farms happens to be located, it's a produce powerhouse that they're importing across the border from Mexico. Droughts, a lot of overbearing regulations and water restrictions have hit California growers pretty hard over the years. Farmers in the West are facing water cutbacks and overregulation while the imports just flow in across the border. Explosive diarrhea and all. You see this story over and over again across the United States, Arizona, Idaho, you name it. Now on this channel, we've covered these water rights battles. We've covered government overreach on ranches and farms. And we've talked a lot about how these things squeeze domestic production. The result, guys, is heavier reliance on imports and over 140 people hospitalized with explosive diarrhea. Now, Mexico supplies massive amounts of lettuce, berries, herbs, exactly the items that are tied to cyclospora outbreaks regularly. It's cheaper in many ways for the big buyers, but the risk travels with those trucks, my friends. These places have different standards, longer.
And their long food travel, makes their food contaminated with parasites, and that's the spirit, because I just, came off a parasite cleanse. I did like 19 days, man. I feel amazing. Like, damn. You see, but a lot of these parasites come from this food that has to travel so far, and it becomes, contaminated with parasites, man. By the time it reaches to the point to where most people have access to it, it's contaminated with parasites, man. And then they do this to stop people from eating a certain way, because a lot of people have went plant-based. A lot of people, are eating different. So what does he do? He does this to deter, people from eating more salads, eating more fruits. So he intentionally does these things, man. At the end of the day, Esau just gotta be removed from power, man. Okay. His main objective within his rulership, if a brother can get that as well, Proverbs 4:16. All right, it's Proverbs 4:16. But that's all the devil is about. That's why you go Sirach 10:3, the brother Yashima tribe of Judah. It says an unwise king destroyed his people, and Esau is this unwise king. You know, because as a king, you want your people to be on point. Like in the kingdom, nah, man, it's gonna be a rigorous captivity for 1,000 years. Okay, because hey, that's the punishment for you heathens for following this nigga, man, Esau. Okay, but after 1,000 years, man, you know, the heathen is gonna get to enjoy, you know, real food. They're gonna get to enjoy, you know, having, you know, land and, you know, livestock and agriculture. They're gonna be forever subjugated to us. Okay, but they're gonna get to enjoy, all right, the you know, the natural earth. You see, there will be no chemicals. Chemicals won't exist in the kingdom. Okay, additives and that. No, man, it's going to be really whole foods. Okay, but he's the unwise king that destroyed his people. You know, he profits off sickness. Okay, this is a kingdom that profits off people being sick, because all those people that are sick, what are they going to do? They're going to get hospital bills. They're going to get what? All right, pharmaceuticals. You see, it's just one big scam. You know, and you people still support this system, man. Fast food restaurants should go out of business, man. Okay, the atrocities they've been, you know, the poison. Okay, the way that they poisoned the American population, man. Would you Americans still wrap your cars around the corner for this poison, man? Okay, and it says an unwise king destroyed his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. You know, and that's going to be the righteous rulership of Yahweh Shai. That's why, you know, you get to verse 4. Or before I get that, let's get this. It said Proverbs 4:16. It says, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall, man. And this is what this devil is on. This from the brother servants of Yahweh Shai 144. You know, and this is what this devil's rulership is about, you know, is how to destroy, you know, an agenda where he wants to depopulate almost 70% of the world's population, man, just so he can try to control everybody, okay, on this digital grid, man. Okay. And this man wants to be the source of all food. Okay. Sirach 10:4. It said, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over one that is profitable, man. And that's Yahweh Shai. So this is why I say the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord. And this is why we see, you know, the Lord beginning to what? Phase Esau out, man. Destroying them that destroy the earth, and he's getting ready what? To reward his servants, the prophets, and those that fear his name, small and great. But 1/3, man, the elect. Okay, he's gonna destroy them. What's destroy the earth, man? You see, and this all this man is about. Everything that this man, okay, yeah, come. You see, everything that this man is doing is complete contrary to nature, and it destroys nature. It destroys creation, man. This man's rulership is at war with creation. His infrastructure, okay, his chemicals, you see, his industry, the pollutants, everything is at war with nature in this man's kingdom, man. Okay, he even has people enchanted to fight against their own nature. Okay, so now the solution is to get Esau out of power, man. And that's what the Lord is doing. That's why we see this war going like it's going, and it's going to get worse, man. Okay, so that's the point. You know, just wanted to tap in this morning. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified. First and foremost, you know, give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim Shai, you know, and may you brothers, all right, and you few sisters, you know, be blessed, you know, until next time, Shalom, you know, and this guy here, Marcus, credit. No, I'm not a apostle, you know, Yeah, I'm not an apostle, brother. You know, that title is reserved, you know, for the head apostles, you know, GMS, you know, just putting it out. But you know, may you brothers and sisters pray that you edify to the next time, Shalom.